Hey, sixth graders. One of the most important improvements I have seen in your writing so far this year is that you are bringing more imagination to your writing. You might feel puzzled as I say this since you are writing true stories, but deep down, I think you are realizing that even when you are writing true stories, to write those stories well, you have to imagine them. You have to recreate the movie of that event. Today, I want to teach you that when you write personal narratives, it is important to put yourself inside the skin of the main character, which is you, of course, just in a different time and place, and then tell the story through that person's eyes, exactly the way they experienced it. The term that people use for telling a story through a narrator's eyes is called point of view. With first-person point of view, which is what we're going to use with our personal narratives, it's when the character is telling the story. You will see words like I, me, or we in the first-person point of view. This point of view is commonly used for narratives and autobiographies. First-person point of view can be a singular or plural. The singular form uses I or me, and plural form uses the word we. Both are used to give the writer's personal perspective. Some examples of first-person narrative include, I always look forward to my summer vacation at the beach. I like to collect seashells and swim in the ocean. We love walking the dogs in the woods. We all think it's so much fun. If it was up to me, I would choose the white car. We didn't want to drive, so we took the train to the city and back home. So as you work on your personal narrative, make sure it is in the first person point of view and you're using words like I, me, or we. So again, first person is when I say, we love walking the dogs in the woods. Third person would be Mrs. Hardy and Mr. Hardy love walking the dogs in the woods. So if you're realizing now that your story is in third person, go back, change it to first person by using words like I, me, or we. We've heard personal narratives by Edna Rider Weber, and I wanted to review some sentences from one of her stories called Feast that we heard. So in the story, it says, they'd be gone 7 or 8 hours, returning with plenty for a wonderful Sunday meal. Nane, Little Fat, and I watched, with Auntie telling us, stand back. Don't get too close. Then it was time. No thanks. Another way she could have told the story is as follows. I remember meals of baked prairie dog when I was a child, but I couldn't eat prairie dog because I once had one as a pet. Told in this way, though, the story lacks interest and seems like it could have been written by anyone. Instead, Feast is written in a way that captures both the reader's attention and the author's unique way of writing. Of the many different ways the author could have written this sentence, I want you to think, why do you think she wrote it this way? So if you reflect back to how the story went, you could be thinking right now that they put baked prairie dog at the end because she wants to surprise us. Or she could say great delicacy to describe baked prairie dog because it's funny. Or you get a surprise when you find out what the great delicacy is actually. So by writing the first line in this way, something about that author's personality or unique way of writing comes through. As you write, I want you to really think, are your words your own? Or could they be written by anyone? For example, if I wrote, I played soccer. Well, that experience could be true to lots of people. But if I am more specific and add details from my own life, then those words become my own because that's an experience that only I have. What I want you to do now is re-look at the story Feast by Edna. I want you to find parts where you feel the author's personality or unique way of writing really comes through. I want you to think, what words or sentences do you feel really show the author's personality or unique way of writing. And then I want you to think, why? How does it show that? In class, after we finish underlining sentences or words from Feast that we think shows the author's personality or unique way of writing, we are going to practice doing this by writing a short personal narrative in our language arts notebook or by using a Google Doc. Remember, our focus today is adding voice to our personal narratives and making it feel like it's our own unique writing style. A story could be anyone's until you add details to it, details from your own life that make the words your own. Remember, before you write, you need to put yourself inside the skin of the person in the story. In that place, think, where exactly am I? What exactly am I saying or doing? Be detailed. You're not just going to an airport, you're unbuckling your seatbelt and getting out of the car. You might smell gasoline and you might see bustling people at the busy airport. So make sure you're using lots of details so that way it is a unique experience, a unique story, and the words are your own. And you also want to try to show your personality as much as possible. We're going to apply this strategy that we learned today by writing a short personal narrative, like I said, in your language arts notebook, or if you prefer, you can do it in a Google Doc. Make sure you share it with me so that way I can see your writing progress and give you feedback before we start our final projects.